Oh, I'm flossing. Tell little bitch get up. Hit it once, had a feeling nauseous.
Welcome back, everybody. It's JJ Buckets. You know where you are, and we are back here today to talk some more Toronto Raptors. Now, on this postseason run, I think it's fair to say it's been pretty successful so far. Obviously, got rid of the Magic in 5, but now they're going up against a much tougher opponent in the Philadelphia 76ers. And the 76ers managed to get a 1-1 split back in Toronto, and it's really brought, I think, a key issue with this Toronto Raptors team to the forefront, and we're going to talk about it today. Now, before we get to the issue, let's talk about really quickly what's been great. So for the Toronto Raptors, what I'm referring to here is the defense has been great. They've been so fantastic in the playoffs this year. They've gone from the number 5 net rating in the regular season to the number 1 net rating defensively in the postseason. And that's a fantastic jump. Obviously, the defense here has been the catalyst for what's been a very successful playoff run so far, you know, knock on wood. And yeah, they've been fantastic top to bottom. You know, Kyle, Danny, Kawhi, Pascal, Marc Gasol, they've all been playing some great defense. They've got some good defense off the bench as well. Needless to say, the defense hasn't been a problem. The defense has been solid, and the defense has been propelling them in this run. So, if you couldn't tell, I think I was making it a little obvious, but just in case you couldn't, I'm going to shift the focus here to the offensive side of the ball, because I highlighted the defense as such a great strong point for this team to contrast it with how not so great the offense has been, and in this postseason particularly. Now, is it necessarily a problem of running bad sets and, you know, taking bad shots? I don't think so. I think it's been more so missing just a lot of open looks for the Raptors, and their shooting just has not been there. So maybe it's more of a problem than we're going to make it out to be, or rather less of a problem than we're going to make it out to be. But nonetheless, let's take a look at it. The Raptors had the 5th net rating in the regular season for their offense. It was solid. It was good. It was one of the best in the league. And they have regressed to the middle of the pack here in the playoffs. They are 8th out of a qualifying 16 teams with their net rating, and they just have been rather unspectacular. But before getting to the problems with the offense, let's touch upon, you know, maybe some of the good things that have happened with the offense. Obviously, Kawhi, he's been great. He's been doing most of the heavy lifting, frankly, I would say. He is 2nd in the league right now in points per game in this playoffs with 31.3 points per game, and it's honestly helped mask a lot of the problems that the Raptors have had on offense, because you can just give the ball to, I guess, playoff Kawhi is what we're calling him now, and playoff Kawhi will go and get you that bucket. Obviously, the guy plays really hard. He's had a couple of 40-point games here, and it's just, you know, it's been enough for now. But the problem is, obviously, the deeper you get into the postseason, the more likely you are to play good teams like Philadelphia, good teams like, say, Boston or Milwaukee, good teams like the Warriors. And to beat those kind of teams, you're not going to do it with just one guy like Kawhi doing it for you. I mean, I guess unless it's last year's version of LeBron James, who almost did it up until he ran into the finals against Golden State Warriors, which I guess even furthers the point that even LeBron last year, who had such a ridiculous campaign for himself and dragged Cleveland into the finals, still couldn't beat a full team unit of the Warriors once he got there. Now, I'm talking about Kawhi, and I'm talking about, like, he's the only good offensive player on the team here, and he hasn't been. You know what? Pascal Siakam, we'll give credit to him too. He's been good. He's been very good. His scoring averages are actually up to 23.3 points per game from the regular season, which was 16.9. So he's definitely had another great improvement here. He's really showing that he's going to be a star in this league for many, many years to come. And he's been a good support piece for Kawhi as a number 2 option. The problems come after that, because after Kawhi and after Pascal, offense has been a bit spotty and sometimes hard to come by in terms of support players. Now, we've talked about it before. We've talked about a and we'll talk about it again, and I kind of feel like we're beating a dead horse, but at the same time, I still feel like it's worth talking about, and it's Kyle Lowry here. And again, we've had the whole conversation about how Kyle Lowry positively affects the game in other ways besides for scoring, but you just can't overlook the fact that you need his scoring to be better at times, a lot of times. And when his scoring is good, this team succeeds, and when it's not, they're not playing to their max potential. They just, like 12.3 points per game from Kyle Lowry in this postseason is not good enough. 43.2 field goal percentage, it's not great. And he's shooting 28.6 from downtown from three-point land. And let me just list some of the guys that are above Kyle Lowry in terms of points per game this postseason. Draymond Green, who's not known to be a scorer whatsoever and has plenty of other options around him that are elite scorers and take most of the scoring opportunities. Nonetheless, Draymond Green is there. DJ Augustine is above Kyle Lowry right now in points per game averages for the playoffs. So are guys like Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. So are guys like Dennis Schroeder, Ricky Rubio, Luke Kennard. It's just, he's not as great as he could be this postseason with the scoring. His points per game is down from the regular season. His three-point percentage is down from the regular season. And needless to say, if the Raptors want to be in the NBA Finals, if they want to get past a team like Philadelphia before they even get to the NBA Finals, Kyle Lowry, he needs to be stronger in that department. But rest assured to Kyle, he's not the only one. Now, this one, I feel like I can kind of forgive based on where he is in the offense, but nonetheless, I think Marc Gasol needs to be a little more aggressive with his touches as well. He's been good, obviously nothing too spectacular. He's a 4th/5th option on this team, but there's just times I feel when I'm watching the game that Marc Gasol can really go and get his offense, or he has an open look, he has a chance to drive, and he just is not aggressive enough and just kind of sits there waiting for somebody else to get open to make that pass. And obviously, I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with, being a pass-first player or wanting to get your teammates good looks. Like, full power to him, absolutely. But at the same time, you can't be passing up on good looks for yourself, as often as I feel like Marc Gasol sometimes does. I think he needs to be a little bit more aggressive. Again, this is maybe a little nitpicky because Marc Gasol, obviously, again, is one of the latter options. But while we're nitpicking, I'm gonna keep going to another one of the latter options from the starting lineup here, and talk about Danny Green. Now, Danny Green absolutely needs to find his stroke in the postseason here. He's averaging 7.1 points per game in the postseason on 34% field goal shooting, and his three-pointer is even down to 34.6. Obviously, it's not a bad percentage per se, but when you compare it to his regular season numbers, there's a difference. There's a decent difference. In the regular season, Danny was putting up 10.3 points per game on 46.5 from the field and 45.5 from three-point land. Now you can see a noticeable dip in every one of these categories. And Danny Green, obviously, he hasn't been playing as well as he could be right now. I think when a lot of people saw him put up the potential game-tying three-pointer against the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 2, at first they were thinking, oh, you know what, it's Danny Green, it's a three-point shot, this is a good look. Then obviously he missed the shot, and all of a sudden the narrative switched to Kawhi should have taken that shot instead because he was scorching, he was hot, and Danny hasn't been good this postseason. And frankly though, Danny hasn't been good this postseason, offensively obviously. Defensively, Danny's been solid, he's very reliable, but on the offensive end, he's not shooting the ball well. And it's not even that he's taking bad looks, like he's getting good looks. Again, this entire Raptors team, I feel like, are shooting very makeable shots, but the problem is they're not making them, and for whatever reason something's not clicking offensively in terms of rhythm, and they really need to get that figured out. Now obviously the very last piece of this, I guess, rant against the offense and how it's not been living up to its potential in this postseason is the bench production. Now, I'm not even going to go into full detail here because I think it's clear as day that the bench has been bad. The Raptors have gone from the bench mob last year to a unit that's maybe serviceable at times. It's not terrible, but it's just not really spectacular. Fred VanVleet just hasn't been great, or as great as we kind of think of him to be. And, you know, some of that can be attributed to the fact that he's been banged up at times throughout the season, at times throughout the postseason, but nonetheless, he just hasn't been too great. And obviously, you're missing a guy like OG who's out with the injury coming in for you, to the point that you have Jody Meeks picking up minutes on this team. And frankly, in 2019, I don't want to see Jody Meeks getting any kind of significant playoff minutes for a team that has NBA championship aspirations, or at least finals aspirations. You know, it's just, it hasn't been a strong part of this team. It really showed again in game 2 against the Sixers, where they managed to steal one against the Raptors, that this bench unit has just not been good. And guys like Serge Ibaka, do need to step up. Guys like obviously Fred, I touched upon already, need to step up, and they just need better results from guys like those if they're gonna hold the fort, I guess, while the starters are out. But the whole point of it here is that the offense, it's lacking right now. It needs to be better, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's an overreaction to say that if the offense isn't better, they're not an NBA Finals team. Now, the Raptors defense, of course, it's been fantastic, and it's going to be the engine that drives this ship to a potential finals berth, to a meeting with Golden State or whoever comes out of the West. But let's be real, it's going to be Golden State. And, you know, they still do need that support from the offense. Defensively, again, we know what they can do. We know how fantastic they are. We know teams are going to struggle to get good opportunities and good looks against this defense. But that being said, that all will go to waste if this offense doesn't come around and it doesn't, produce how we know this offense is capable of. That's it for me today. My name is JJ Buckets. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Do you have a different opinion? Do you think I'm crazy for thinking what I'm saying? Let me know below. Leave a comment. If you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you want to see more content. And other than that, guys, I am done for the day.